it started playing on me. Like I stepped on the scale and realized I was 530 pounds. Then I started thinking like, oh my goodness, you could turn around and have a heart attack while you carrying him for a diaper change and fall on him. Your wife comes home and find everyone dead. So then I'm like, I'm not going to see my son graduate kindergarten if I keep going this rate.
Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we have an absolute treat. John, the Fasting Fatman, is here with us today. He started off at his biggest at 550 pounds and has lost a ton of weight, did 150 days of water fasting. We're going to be getting into the history of his fasting. How did he gain the weight? What did he do on his fast? He's going to unload all of that for us here in a couple of seconds, so stay tuned. We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person.
We need to start focusing more on the individual.
All right, John, I want you to introduce yourself, because one of the things that I love about your channel is how you introduce yourself. So if you could just introduce yourself to my audience. I know a lot of people probably know who you are, but for those who don't know who you are you?
Hello, everybody. It's Big John, a.k.a. the amazing Fasting Fatman, a.k.a. the incredible Shrinking Man. And today, I'm on the Healthy Alternative to answer all the questions that my good friend Chris may have for me. You guys know how I started this fast journey and my future expectations going forward.
All right, let's get into it.
Well, the way I got to, I've always been, a big person. I was a chubby baby, chubby toddler, fat kid. So like, I've always had that problem with weight. And the reason primarily is really like, I just loved food, Like I in one of my my broadcasts, I had mentioned how one time my mother made a cake. And in the time she went out and came back, I ended up eating the whole cake. I started out and I started out with a small piece, right? But then I kept taking small pieces. It was like addictive. Like I kept going. Then it reached a point where I like, okay, then I'm going to get I'm going to get in trouble for this. If I'm going to get in trouble for this, I might as well eat the whole thing. And the thing is, I was very active as a teenager. Like I mentioned in one of my shows, I started lifting weights at 14 in high school because I heard muscles would help burn fat. But the thing is, I never curbed my eating. So I would go to the gym and work out. Like I was at a point where I was lifting racks of things and I was still big. I played football, I was still big. But it never got to the point where I was like in the 500s until I got much older and began a more sedentary lifestyle because I started, working for myself, which involved sitting around, making phone calls, driving from this place to that place. When I was working in the private sector, I worked as a director for an adult day program, taking care of autistic adults. At that time, I had to walk from home to the train station. I could take the bus, but the bus sometimes would take a while. So I would walk from home to the train station. Then from the train station, I would walk to work. Then I'm on my feet all day chasing around after these guys, Yeah. Sometimes you have to take them out into community. They had things like job programs where you got to take them on their job, like cleaning the park. So it was very active. And then every year we go to, it's two things we would do. We would go on these weekend trips called weekend respites. It's pretty much to give the parents a break. We go to different places like upstate New York to go horseback riding. We go to the casinos. We go to Sesame Place. This time, now. When I say Sesame Place, that's not with the adults because the respite also included the children population.
Oh, okay.
So pretty much, I was always active. So I never really got that big. So I teetered, around like the 340s, 350s around there, never getting bigger than that. And there was Bally's. It was called Bally's then. Now I think it's 24-hour fitness.
Okay.
There was a Bally's on 6th Avenue where I would go lift weights every day after work and spend like a couple of hours lifting weights. So I was always able to keep it in check. But once I began the sedentary lifestyle, forget about it. Like I would just as I'm talking to you now, I'll order some food, comes to the door, I scarf down pizza. And it wouldn't just be like a slice of pizza. I'm sitting there buying like a small pie, which became a medium pie. I would buy a rack of ribs. So throughout the day, I'm eating and slowly but surely, and I'm not stepping on the scale, mind you. So it's just by the time I step on the scale, it's like, oh my goodness. And the biggest I got was 550 pounds. And the 550 pounds was, I would say, about 11, 12 years ago.
Okay.
And when I stepped on the scale, I'll never forget, this was in Washington Heights at the bus station on 179th. And it was one of those coin-operated scales. And when I stepped on the scale and saw 550, I was mortified. So I'm like, okay, I'm going back to the gym. I'm going to start walking. And I brought it right back down into like around the 360s, 370s,
Right.
And I'm like, never going to get past 400 again. And lo and behold, like again, I just let it creep up on me. And, like I said in my first video, when I had, there was different stages. When my wife told me she was pregnant, I told her, I'm going to lose the weight because I don't want my son to see me fat. When he comes into the world, I'm going to be smaller. Didn't happen. As he's growing up, as he's hitting, he's starting to crawl, he was crawling towards the kitchen, and I wanted to get up to stop him from getting there, and I couldn't get off the couch. I was just so heavy, I couldn't get off the couch. I managed to force my way up and stop him, and then I started thinking, that could have been a dangerous situation. What if he was crawling to some immediate danger, and I'm too heavy to get up? So, and then my mind wandered. It started playing on me. Like I stepped on the scale and realized I was 530 pounds. Then I started thinking like, oh my goodness, you could turn around and have a heart attack while you carrying him for a diaper change and fall on him. Your wife comes home and find everyone dead,
Wow.
Or you could have a heart attack and he's sitting around crawling around in soiled diapers and crying and you're dead, So then I'm like, I'm not going to see my son graduate kindergarten if I keep going this rate. So I turned on YouTube and started looking at like quick ways to lose weight. And fortunately, I came across the story of Angus Barbieri. Now, when I seen Barbieri's story, he fasted for 382 days. He went from 456 pounds to 180. So I'm thinking like, wait a minute, how the hell can someone that size go through starvation every single day? Because I didn't understand fasting at the time. I thought literally you're dealing with hunger pains for 382 days. And I'm like, that's impossible. But, as I researched, I'm like, he was big, but how can you torture yourself? Is it possible? No. This guy loved food like I did. He was addicted to food like I was, yet he was able to do it. So I researched further and found that, as you know, when you fast, you're only hungry the first few days. And then after that, once your body switches over to burning fat for fuel, then you're sated all the time. So once I learned that, I'm like, you know what? I could do this. Let me try to do 30 days, right? That's what I told myself. But I'm like, the way I'm eating now, there's no way I'm going to jump right into a fast because that's just a recipe for failure. I know myself. Like I was putting away, like I would order, fried chicken, right? No sooner than then it's gone where I don't feel stuff anymore. I'm sitting there ordering White Castles, Wow. And the worst thing is things like, the delivery things like Uber Eats and those type of things, they don't help an obese person. They make it easier,
right?
Because before all that existed, because I have my son, I would have been forced to just eat what's in the house. Because I'm not going to sit there, pack my kid, put him in the car seat to drive to McDonald's. That's not going to happen. But when the food comes to you, it's like, I could get whatever I want anytime I want, So I told myself, okay, I know about intermittent fasting because I tried intermittent fasting, a couple years earlier. I did a 8-hour window. Now, the problem with that regimen is because I learned about intermittent fasting in terms of it's not what you eat, it's when you eat, right?
Right.
I was eating all type of unhealthy things within the 8 hours. Now, I kept my 8 hours. Like once, I start and I finish, and then I would just have water. But the thing is, I would have pizzas, burgers, chips, all the nonsense processed fatty foods that you're not supposed to have. So as a result, every time I stepped on the scale, now I wasn't losing weight, but by the same token, I noticed I wasn't gaining as much weight as I would the way I normally ate. So I'm like, okay, there's something to this intermittent fasting, but I gave it up. So to get on the fast, I'm like, the key would be to train my body to go without food. So let me do intermittent fasting again. But this time I did a 4-hour window. And at the time I made my decision to do this, that same day, my wife came home and she was like, I'm thinking about going on the raw diet, and I would like you to go on it with me. Now, the thing is, my wife is slim. She doesn't need to go on the raw diet. I mean, yeah, granted, she gained a little something from the child, but it's not like she became huge or anything, little 30 pounds or something like that, But when she said that, I realized it's not about, the diet isn't about her, it's about me, Like, as an obese person, a lot of times people try, to tell you like to diet, to exercise and things, and we get defensive. It's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And we BS ourselves, we lie, like, oh, I'm gonna start the gym next month, and all type of other pie in the sky things that never come to fruition,
Right.
So my wife is used to me being defensive. So she comes at an angle like, hey, I'm doing this. And since I'm going to be making this stuff anyway, would you like to join? And I knew what it was. And true enough, because all this had happened to me, I took it as a sign from God, like, you know what? You need to change. Basically, God just told you about the diet, It's been years. My wife got pregnant. She had the baby, and she didn't mention nothing about my size. But at the same time, I go through this realization that, look, you need to lose weight. You're not going to see your son grow up. She comes in with this. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to do it. And the very next day, I started an intermittent fasting regimen. I told myself that this was like December 11th. And I told myself I would do the intermittent fasting regimen until January 2nd. And then I would start the fasting. So New Year's came and went. I didn't pig out. I ate appropriately within my 4-hour window. Plus, because I had been doing the 4-hour intermittent fasting regimen for so long, for the 3 weeks, I got full quicker, So by the time the second came, and there's still that apprehension. Like when you wake up, you're tempted, you're like, yo, my window's going to come. Am I going to do this, or am I going to put it off for next week,
Right.
So like my window came and I didn't have anything. I let it go. It closed. I wasn't hungry. Second day, same thing. I was hungry. I'm like, that's odd. Like, I normally eat between 2 and 6, and I have not been hungry in that time frame. The third day, hunger came. Hunger came like about 1 o'clock, 1:30. It pestered me, and then it went away. Then it came again around the time my window was supposed to close. But once my window closed, there was no hunger. The fourth day, the same thing. The fifth day, I woke up, window open, closed, nothing, right? But the difference was when I woke up the fifth day, for some reason, like I didn't feel this emptiness, So I'm like, okay, the sixth day, but that's the time I realized, okay, right now and stuff, I'm in ketosis. The body is burning the fat because I feel sated. I feel this feeling like, between lunch and dinner, when you have this little snack to hold you till dinner, that's how I felt. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I could do this. I could do, I'll definitely, let me do 7 days, evaluate, then 10, then go to the 30. Now, by the 7th day, when I stepped on the scale, I weighed like, I believe it was like 491 or 92. And I was flabbergasted. I'm like, December 11th, I was 530.
All right.
And now on January 9th, I'm 490 something. So I'm like, look, I gotta document this, and that's why I made me start the YouTube channel. And then from there, it's just history. I just kept going like every 30 days. And the reason I did it is because, like I said in the first video, I don't know how long I could go, but I'm just going to keep going and going and going. And then, of course, like, my wife in the beginning, she didn't understand fasting. She was worried about it, She's like, what's the sense of doing this if, like, you could die from it? Because, there's a lot of misinformation on fasting,
Yeah.
Like, you say you want to be there for your son, but you're doing something that could kill you. So, I had her look through things, and she got educated. She became more comfortable. But then she told me, if I'm going to continue, then, I have to let the doctor know so that he can monitor me, So I finally did go to the doctor. At first, I wasn't even going to go to a doctor, but then I went to the doctor, and it was the best thing I ever had, because the doctor gave me this added peace of mind from going in, getting blood tested, getting, he sent me in for echocardiograms. He sent me for stress tests to make sure that, the fasting isn't taking a toll on me. So as a result of that, that allowed me to fast longer, because once I had that peace of mind, then every day it was just a routine. Like, I wake up, I do my supplement routine, the apple cider vinegar, the sea salt, the electrolyte powder. But like, that kept me going. And the only thing that I was low on in my blood test was iron. That's all. But everything else was on point. My electrolytes was on point. Everything was on point. So every 30 days, me and the wife would talk, and I'm like, look, I could do another 30. So she's like, all right, let's do it, Now, when we got around 150, I'm like, look, I could do another 30. And she's like, yeah, but do you really need to? I mean, at some point you got to stop, and you want to tone up. You want to do this keto OMAD. Like, I think, like, 150 is enough. You should transition, refeed, and start going to the gym. That gives you like a good 6 months to get in shape by December. So I agreed with her, and then, we stopped at 150.
Wow. What a great story, man. One of the things that I actually noticed when I very first started watching your channel is like your energy, your vibe. It seemed like you were, looking to motivate others and encourage others. And I'm all for that. Obviously, if you know my channel, I love the fact that we can go through these processes, share it with the world, and help motivate other people. Because it's like, if John can do it, like, anybody could do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You're 100% on point on that. If you remember my first video, I did say that, I hope to lose the weight, but I also hope to inspire others to do it, and I just never imagined that, like, I get tons of comments about people who's like, you saved my life. From watching you, I started doing X amount. I've lost 60 pounds. And that makes me feel great.
Yeah.
Because that makes me feel absolutely great, because this journey was inspired, well, primarily by my son, motivated by my son, but also from watching other people who fast and survive their fast. So in a way, I feel like I'm paying it forward. And not to mention, like, by documenting this, showing this, especially like with the refeeding, because people like, like, you have a lot of trolls, that comes on the comment section. And the thing is, while I'm fasting, you have people that'll come up and say, you're going to die. This guy, I guarantee you he'll be dead in a month, 2 months. But the thing is, that motivated me just as much. As much as the people who told me that they lost weight. Just as much as the people who told me, like, I enjoy your program, keep doing what you're doing. The naysayers, the people who disbelieve, the people who say I'm going to die, the people who say I'm going to suffer from refeeding sickness, refeeding edema, they motivate me just as much, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to prove you wrong. Here I am. I did 150 days. I didn't die. I showed every single day of my refeed. Instead of doing it weekly, like, I took time from my business to film every single day, because what I didn't want to hear is, well, he could have been hospitalized for 3 days in between the,
Right.
No. every day you saw me. So you can't go and say, well, he was sick, he was this, he was that. I read everything right to the refeed, you know? And now, you know, here we are, you know? And of course, there's still doubters because I plan on hitting 195 by December. Now, it's a lofty goal, you know, but the thing is, you always aim high. You fall short, you're still better off than where you started from.
Right.
You know, I have no problem with that. But then you'll never make 195 by December. But what do you care?
Wow.
You see, like, how does that affect your life, whether I do or don't? You see, that's why I don't understand. But by the same token, it motivates me. Like when I started the gym again after, because I told you I had the fecal impaction.
Right.
You know, at first I thought I was just like backed up, and you know, you told me about the oils and this and that, you know. So it ended up being a fecal impaction, which, you know, finally got out on the 4th. But because of that, it delayed my workout because the doctor was prescribing enema and these stool softeners. And as a result, I couldn't really be outside the house because sometimes you just feel like I got to run down. And then when you sit in the toilet, it's a slow leak, you know? I can't be in the gym on the treadmill and all of a sudden there's a brownout because I can't make it to the bathroom, you know? So I decided, you know what? Let me wait until this is over. So once it was over, I started the gym again. Then when I went to the gym, I went hard. And my body paid for it. I was sore for days because, like, my determination was like, I'm going to make up for all the days I miss at the gym.
Right.
I have to get to, you know, and this is like different from me because now with the whole 195 goal, it's not a matter of if I reach it, it's when I reach it.
Right.
Because every day in my mind, I visualize like I am razor focused on it. It's the point of obsession to hit this mark. But again, December comes, I'm 220, 230. I'm not going to cry over it. I saw that at 530 pounds.
Right.
For my sake, you know, I would love to hit 195. You know, that would be fantastic. I mean, last time I weighed 195, I was in grammar school. And the thing is, I told my business partner this. He's like, wow, 195. When was the last time you weighed 195? I'm like, grammar school. And he started laughing until he realized I was serious. I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. 195. In fact, the summer before high school, I gained even more because I started high school at 220. You know, my freshman year of high school, I was like about 218, 220. You know, so like think about it. I'm gonna be the size I was when I was in high school. Be it I hit it in December, be it I hit it in January, I'm definitely gonna hit it.
Yes.
You know, that's a given.
How tall are you, John?
I'm 6 feet even.
That's incredible. You know, it's funny because I've interviewed quite a few people now. You're the first YouTuber that I've interviewed.
Really?
And yeah. Well, I take that back. The other YouTubers, those videos haven't released yet, technically.
Okay.
So, but talking to you, you're literally you're answering all the questions I have. Like, you know, like I was going to like ask you about your blood work. And you like, I was going to ask you, you know, how your wife felt about it. Like, you're just nailing all the questions. I'm like, man, I don't know what to ask. I'm just sitting here listening at this point. But it's an amazing story. And getting back down to that size is going to be phenomenal. So I'm curious, do you plan, are you finished with fasting? Do you still do any type of fasting now? Like, what's your eating regimen like now?
Ideally, like my eating regimen now is I'm trying to do OMAD. Like, you know, in the beginning, I wanted to do 1 to 2 hour window. It was impossible because my stomach shrank so much that even during the refeed, like the little food I was taking each day to the refeed, I was stuffed. By the time I started the keto OMAD regimen, what would happen is I gave myself a 4 hour window because I had a 4 hour window for the refeed, right? And the thing is, I would get stuffed and the window would close before I ate again. You know, but the thing is, I have not been hungry. Hunger has not returned yet. Like from the fast to the refeeding till now, there has not been one day when I'm like, I'm kind of hungry. I feel like eating something. It's kind of like my body is so used to being in the fasted state that eating is now the aberration. You know, the times when I eat, it's like, hey, what's going on here? And then when I go back to the fasted state, it's like, okay, I'm comfortable now. You know, it's the weirdest thing. But what I started doing now, because I don't want to be in a caloric deficit, even though like I've heard that, look, you know, if you're not hungry and your body's fine with it, you're not in a caloric deficit. It just means that your body's still running on ketones, you know?
Right.
But what I started doing, and I shrank my window from 4 to 3, is I bought I don't have it here. I bought a keto shake, right? And I started having that and putting MTC oil in it, you know, in order to like, you know, to raise up the calories and everything else. Cause like I'll have me a ribeye steak and some broccoli, and I'm stuffed. Like even the little slice of cheese that I put next to it, I can't have. Like that's the end of it. So because of that, I'm like, okay, I gotta have this shake to just bring up the calorie count a little bit more and get more nutrients. And I started doing the same regimen in terms of the vitamins and electrolytes that I was doing when I was fasting, because I worry I'm not getting enough nutrition from the food, you know? But ultimately what I want to do is when I am able to do like a 2-hour keto, you know, a 2-hour window, what I want to do is fast randomly 1 day a week.
Gotcha.
Like it could be a Monday this week, it could be a Thursday the next week, just randomly 1 day of fasting. I've also been looking into alternate day fasting, you know, but my biggest concern is I eat little as it is now. I don't want to eat little, fast the next day, and then the day I'm supposed to eat, hunger returns. Because I like the fact that I'm never hungry. Like that's also something that's been able to keep. I mean, I do believe that I've broken my addiction because, you know, throughout the day when I was 5:30, food was prevalent.
Right.
Like no matter what, like it's in the back of my mind. Ooh, what time is it? When am I going to eat? Now, like sometimes my window is open. It's like a half hour before. I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta go pick something to eat.
Right.
Like, you know, like food is no longer prevalent in me, and the fact that I'm no longer hungry, I think, also contributed to that. So I don't want to get into a regimen where I cause hunger to return. So you know, so like I'm balancing it out. I'm doing the research to see like if that, and I also don't want to stretch my stomach out. I don't want to sit there and pig out on the non-fast day, you know, and have my stomach big again. I like it the way it is now. I like the fact that it takes a very little to fill me up. Ideally, what I want to do is, the keto is just a tool to get me to 195. Once I hit 195, I'm just going to do OMAD from that point for the rest of my life. In the past, I've gone through tons of diets. And the reason I failed in tons of diets is because the rigidity, you know, the lack of flexibility.
Yep.
You know, those are the reasons, you know, that I pretty much failed. And I think like now the way I'm approaching it has been beneficial. Like, you know, like I gained some weight initially from the refeed, but now, you know, it's back down. The last time I weighed myself, I was 296, you know? I mean, net, because when I ended the fast, I believe I was
305.
305, exactly. So like between the time I ended the fast and now, man, it was 11 pounds, you know what I mean? I mean, 9 pounds, you know, it's just 9 pounds, but you know what? It's wonderful because like, you know, my whole thing is just continue on your journey. I can step on the scale tomorrow and it doesn't budge and I'll be fine. You know, whereas in the past, I step on the scale and it doesn't budge. It's an excuse to eat. Oh, this isn't working. I'm going to eat again. That's gone. That old me is dead. You know, I have a mission in mind. I know where I want to be. I know how I want to look. I brought it's funny too, because the way I organize my closet is I have a bunch of 2XL t-shirts, right? And the XLTs, because like, you know, the hanging belly got to be covered, you know, because the 2XL will fit me, but the XLT will cover the belly, you know, and I'm transitioning from the 3X to the 2Xs, you know, and pretty much like I have a bunch of 2Xs, regular 2Xs that I have, and because I know I'm going to hit it. What's funny is I sit back and I think like I was looking through King Size Direct and I was looking at shirts, and I was about to get 7Xs because the 6Xs was starting to be a little snug.
Wow.
And I went from that to now where I could fit into a 2X. It's a little bit, you know, you show all the rolls,
Right.
the 2X, you know? So like it's just been an amazing journey. Like, you know, the way I've been able to rewire my mind, my relationship with food. And you know what's funny enough too? Like I mentioned this in one of my videos. When I first started fasting, I would look at a lot of cooking videos, how to
Yeah.
cook keto, make keto bread, how to do this, how to do that, like religiously. And my wife told me that it's just food porn. It's just your addiction hanging on anyway, you know? This is why you're looking at the cooking things and all that stuff. And after she told me that, I thought about it. And true enough, I stopped looking at it. Now, since I've been actually making keto stuff myself, I haven't watched one cooking show. Like I haven't, there's not one show I've watched. I've just been making my own stuff. And like the things I used to watch, Randy Santel eating up a house and all these other things, I just don't watch anymore. It just, you know, like the whole food, you know, craving, wanting to be near food is done.
Dude, that's interesting that you talk about OMAD. I just did a video this past Sunday, I think it was, where I talked about, you know, how to eat one meal a day, how to make it, like you said, it's the rigidity of these diet programs that causes people to kind of break. Adding that layer of flexibility to it, you can make it a lifestyle, right? That's like the goal. You make it a lifestyle, and you know that with eating OMAD, you're going to continue to either progress or maintain, but you're not going to go backwards.
Exactly.
It's funny you talk about the eating, you know, the cooking shows. That is not unique with you. That, like, I experienced it, my brothers experienced it, and I've had many people on my show tell me that it's like, I don't know, it like satiates you or something. It's like being able to see the food. I don't know, but
yeah, exactly. It's another way to satisfy your addiction on the subconscious level. And when my wife pointed out to me, I'm like, that's nonsense. I'm just prepping for when I stop fasting. But sure enough, there came a point where I stopped watching it. Now that I'm actually eating, I don't watch none of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually picked up a couple of shows so that I could learn how to cook, because so what I did was I changed my diet. Like I stopped doing meat and dairy, and I was adopting more of like a plant-based thing, and I didn't know how to make any of that stuff because I knew how to make steak, I knew how to make chicken Alfredo.
Yes.
So I had to learn. But yeah, you're right. I don't do that anymore. I don't like go and watch videos just to watch them. Like, especially if I'm fasting.
Right now, it's functional. It's to actually cook what you're watching.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been amazing that I built this different relationship with food now, because now I can actually like create dishes out of nothing. I just look what's in my pantry and I put some stuff together. So that's been fun. What are some of the other maybe unique things that you've experienced with fasting? I know that you mentioned you feel like you've broken your food addiction. That's huge. I just literally was talking about that as well.
I did mention that I'm no longer dependent on pills to regulate my blood pressure. You know, my blood pressure is just normal now.
Nice.
You know, and that's from the fast. When I was heavier, right? I had like my legs, the bottom of my legs were dark, right? And scaly. And when you press on it, the indentation would stay there. It's called pit and edema, you know, because of the poor circulation to my leg. Like the leg just wasn't pumping it back up, you know? But like that's kind of cleared up. It's not 100% yet.
Right.
You know? But like I could push in and there's no pit and edema. It's starting to get lighter again. You know? So I think the circulation is slowly returning, you know?
Nice.
And of course, the physical benefits of like, you know, being able to walk like 2 miles without a problem. Oh, another thing too is when I was fasting, I was cold all the time. You know, like cold.
Yeah.
Like my wife would be like, "No, it's you." You know. And now that I've come off the fast, although I'm not cold all the time, I still feel it, but I don't like sweat as much. Like I have to be physically active. Like, you know, sometimes I'll do the video and I'm sweating, but that's because I just came back from my walk. you
Right.
know, or I worked out in the gym and I got it in, you know, and then I try to dry off, but like my body's still heated, you know?
Right.
But other than that, like, you know, it takes a while for me. Like we're in the midst of a heat wave up here. And like I could walk outside, whereas in the past I would just step out the door and whoosh, the sweat comes in. I could walk a couple of blocks before the sweat breaks out. You know, that's something totally different. And of course, you know, there's the benefits of being able to bend down and tie my sneakers now. Before I had my sneakers set up to be like sandals. I just slip them on.
Wow.
Now I can literally bend down, untie them, and tie them tight so they're nice and snug on my feet. You know, I could sit down and tie my feet. The other day I was able to cross my leg for the first time in years.
Wow.
You know, I'm working to the point where like I'll be able to. When I was heavier, I couldn't get on the floor and play with my child because it was hard as hell to get back up. You know, it was a struggle. I had to have chairs next to me and it was a struggle. But now I could get on the floor and play with my child. You know, now I still need something to help me back up, but I want to get to the point where I could like squat and stand with no problem.
Those are the little things that I'm looking for, because I feel like, you know, there's somebody out there watching and the weight loss maybe doesn't appeal to them as much, but it's like, but you know, the daily struggles of just being too big, not being able to tie your shoe, not being able to get up, you know, the story you mentioned about your son crawling and maybe not be able to get to him in time. Those little nuances sometimes are big for people that I found. I was talking to a lady, one of my clients yesterday. She's older, and I don't get an opportunity to work with like a ton of older people, but she was mentioning to me that when she started fasting, you know, older people tend to have issues with their bladders, you know, men, but also women as well. And she was just like, it's you know, I couldn't go 30 minutes or an hour without having to go to the bathroom and pee. But once I started fasting, I was able to, you know, kind of like control my bladder like I used to be able to. And I'm like, for that individual and other people who are dealing with that, that's huge.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I love hearing about those little things. It's stuff that I would never think about because I've never had that type of experience. And you know, I love getting that type of information from people such as yourself.
The thing I realize as I've lost weight is we tend to just adapt, you know, and sometimes adaptation is bad. For instance, the bigger I got, like with the shoes, you know, I went from being able to tie my own shoes to just slipping on my slippers. That's just an adaptation, but that's not a good adaptation. I reached a point where it was hard for me to reach my backside after a bowel movement. So what I do is I would have to push my arm against a wall to force it low enough to actually reach my backside and clean myself.
Wow.
Adaptation. You know, in fact, when I lost the weight and I was going to a wall to do it, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I don't need to do this anymore. And that just felt wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, independently, I was just able to do it. Like, you know, the other thing too is I couldn't do it from sitting down. I had to stand up to do it, you know? Now I could sit down and take care of myself. And these are the things, as I'm able to go back to what I was, I sit back and I'm like, how did you allow yourself? Like from the first time that happened, that should have been a clue. It should have took my son to get me to change.
Right.
From the first time that happened, from the first time I had to adapt, I should have been this ridiculous, you know, and I should have craved the old lifestyle, but I didn't, you know, and you know, the food and the taste of the food and the act of eating was more important than anything, even my own life, you know, because like realistically, we could put it in the back of our head. We know where this journey takes us. You get bigger and bigger, you headed towards a heart attack, a stroke, you headed towards death.
Right.
I mean, that's a given. You know, you don't find a bunch of 80, 90 years old who's morbidly obese.
Right. Where are you from originally? Is your dad?
Haiti.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I was actually born in Haiti, but I came here when I was 3. That's why I speak English so well.
Right. Yeah, I never would have guessed.
A lot of people wouldn't. But the thing is, the clues are in my videos. The little dolls, there's a Dominican doll representing my wife, and there's a little Haitian doll representing me. Some people get that in the comment section. Some people will decipher, is that a Haitian and Dominican doll?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Little Easter eggs. People are super observant. Like,
yes. Oh my God. You don't have to tell me. Like
Yeah.
I went through hell because of my wife likes Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Uh,
So when I was doing the refeeding videos in the kitchen, there was this big Kellogg Raisin Bran on top of the fridge. Oh my goodness. People come out the woodwork obsessed with this Kellogg's Raisin Bran. You're going to get fat again because there's junk in your house and this, that.
yeah.
Like, I'm not the only one living here,
Right.
right? My wife loves Raisin Bran, period. You know, she's not obese, she's not big, and she loves a Raisin Bran. And what's funny too is she reads some of the comment, and during the refeed, that box of Raisin Bran was finished. She left it up there, empty, because she was like, "I'm not taking it down. They're gonna think it's because of that nonsense they wrote." So she just kept it up there.
What did you actually break your fast with? Like, can you go through your refeed regimen for us?
For sure. The first thing I broke my fast with was bone broth. Right, that first day I had bone broth. The next day I had bone broth with eggs in it. Like I boiled the egg with an egg. I boiled the egg in the bone broth and I had that. Then I moved on to the soup. I believe it was tomato soup, split pea soup. You know, then from the soup, pretty much I reintroduced everything in stages. It was soups, then it was the salads, then it was the meats. I saved the fruits for last because one of the things I had read was I couldn't introduce sugar to my system too quick after such a long fast because that would send my system into shock, you know? Not, and sugar in particular, not necessarily carbs, because Angus Barbieri broke his fast with a slice of bread and a boiled egg. So that means he had carbs from the jump, you know? And he didn't suffer from refeeding, or at least they didn't put in the doctor's note anything about refeeding sickness or refeeding edema. So pretty much it was soup, it was bone broth, then soups, then the vegetables, right? Then the meats, then the carbs, then the fruits.
That's interesting. You almost do the reverse of what I do or what I teach, which is start with the high water content fruits and then vegetables and then soups and things like that.
Well, ideally, if I did like a 30-day fast, a 40-day fast, like I've seen tons of video where people broke those fasts with fruits, you know? So I know it'd be safe to do. The thing is, because I went so long, like I panic. My whole thing is like, what if I do, what if I don't listen to this? I'm like, plenty of people broke it with fruits, and then I turn around and eat a fruit and then send my system into shock.
Right.
So I just wanted to err on the side of caution.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that you do a lot of research. You didn't go into this, haphazardly, like, let's just give it a go. You know what I mean? Even prepping for your fast and doing the intermittent fasting, I think it played a huge role in you being successful. I mean, all of these things, you nailed it, right? I mean, step by step, you nailed it, because there's so many roadblocks. There's so much, like you mentioned earlier, misinformation about fasting, what works, what doesn't work. And even like when I started, people were like, yo, you're going to die. You're going to do, I'll be like, I'm going to do 10-day fast, 15-day fast. They're like, you're going to die on day 10. And I'm like, well, we'll see about that. It's
just ridiculous. Like, people don't know, and they just like throw these things out there. And like, dude, I'm a human being. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father. I'm a husband. Like, in what universe is you telling me I'm going to die? It's supposed to be like comforting.
I'm so happy that you don't let it get to you, because like you're such an inspiration. And we've got a couple members in the group, in the Facebook group, who are 500 plus. And one of the reasons why I really wanted you to come on the show is to show that there's no limit, right? I mean, you could be 500, you could be 600 pounds. You can do this.
Absolutely.
And so there's a, and that, man, you mentioned Uber Eats. When I talk to my members who are upwards, 450, 500 pounds, they all talk about how Uber Eats is the devil. It's like, you spend $500 a week on Uber Eats. So I thought that was a great tidbit to kind of, to put the spotlight on. If you're out there and you're struggling with weight, you need to make accessing food more difficult for you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I tell people all the time, especially when you're going on these like fasts and things like that, if you're serious about it, get rid of the garbage in your house. And as much as you can, talk to your family so that they'll support you. Like that's all
That's
important.
key. That's key. Family support. Now, fortunately, like I don't know if you know, like I kept this away from my mother. Not so much that she wouldn't be supported, but I just didn't want to add that burden of worry on her because she's a retired nurse, but
Uh,
she's old school way of thinking. So to her, it's going to be, well, he's fasting and he's going to hurt himself.
right.
So I kept it from her because, she's along in age and I just didn't want her, like, think about it, 150 days of stress.
Yeah.
Like every day wondering, is this the day he's going to have some kind of problem? I just kept it away from her. Once it was done, I told her she was fine.
Got it. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you. I certainly, I don't watch every single video because you do post like every day, but that's great, right? But I'm looking forward to seeing where you are this time next year, and seeing what you decide to do from that point forward. I don't know if you saw, but I left a comment and I was just like, hey man, I said, I love what you're doing, but what are you gonna do when you get down to your goal weight? Because your channel's called the Fasting Fatman. I was like, what are you gonna do with your channel name when you're not fat anymore?
Oh, no. Well, you know what? I could change it to the Fasting Fatman, but if I'm doing OMAD for life, I'm still in a state of fasting.
Right.
So I can do the fasting part,
Yeah.
And what I plan on doing is when I hit my goal, is to set other mountains to climb. Like, I hit 195. The next thing is, spend the next year, building up so I could be like The Rock and enter a bodybuilding competition.
Nice.
Or spend the next year training so I can enter a triathlon. Like there's always mountains to climb that's going to keep me physically fit, that's going to incorporate my life. Like this just keeps going. I'm not just going to get small and then like 5 years from now, you guys are wondering, hey, I wonder what happened to the Fasting Fat Man. Did he ever get big again? You'll know, like this guy kept the weight off because I need to inspire other people who's morbidly obese to show them that it's not only possible to take control of your health, it's possible to completely dominate your life mentally and control every aspect of it. It's all up here, and I realize that now.
My hope is that we, can create an awareness, and by word of mouth, if nothing else, we could get this information out there, and people could start healing themselves. Diabetes runs rampant in the Black community, and it's just like,
Yes.
100 million Americans have diabetes, and most of them are African Americans. It's like, I just want to get this information out there so we can stop dying of this disease. Like, I've got so many members in my family that had diabetes or have diabetes, and it's just it drives me insane. My belief is that as we get people healthier and healthier and healthier, we'll start seeing the little scam they're doing here, the trick they're doing here, the lie they're doing here, and then eventually it won't work on us anymore. And
Exactly.
yeah, so I hope that we will be able to genuinely shift the world, society, the direction that we're going. And I don't think it'll take long. We just have to take the right steps. And getting your wellness together is like the first steps. Like Michael Jackson said, start with the man in the mirror. Like
man in the mirror. Agree 100%. Listen to that song 1,000 times and finally understand the meaning. It all starts with you. You control you. There's few things in this world that you control than your body. You control every aspect of your body. You control that. Yep. You have more dominance over your body than you have over your children, over your spouse, over your friends, over your family. You have 100% control of your body. It's as simple as that. Yep. Take control of your body.
John, do you have any final nuggets, anything else that you want to leave? I mean, you've dropped quite a bit. You got anything left in the toothpaste bottle that you want to squeeze out for us?
The same thing I always says. Listen, and it's what we said earlier. If I could do this, all of you out there could do this. I mean, there's nothing special about me. I got motivated by my son, but I'm hoping that you could skip the process of going through years of obesity to find that motivation. The ability to change your life, any aspect of your life, be it your health, your financial situation, it all exists in you. It's all in here. It's called determination, and we all have that in us. Just be determined. Focus on a goal, and every single day you make sure you work towards that goal, you'll achieve it. It's as simple as that. Sounds corny. You've heard it 1,000 times growing up, but I'm living proof that it's the truth.
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And it's like
with a single step.
You focus on that step, and then the next step, and then you don't think about the thousands of steps you got to take. You just put one foot in front of the other.
You don't think about the thousands of steps. You don't think about all the people who's running by you. You just focus on your journey. Don't look at the mile marker either. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, well, I'm only on mile 5. And no, just keep going and stuff. You'll get there. It's not about, the vehicle or the length to the destination. It's about the destination, period. You could take 3 months to get there on a ship, or you could take 1 hour to get on a plane. It doesn't matter. Get to the destination.
Well, John, it's been amazing talking to you. Like I said, I was very excited to do this. I think this video is going to help so many people. I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to reach out and speak to you, because I noticed that you're very active on your YouTube. So just for those who are out there listening, I know that he's dedicated to this process and he wants to help other individuals. How can people find you? What's the name of your channel? Do you got Instagram? Let us know.
I do. I'm the Fasting Fatman on YouTube. You just look up the Fatman, my channel come up. I'm new to the whole social media thing. I'm more of a raised during Reagan type person, the Cold War guy, the guy who remembered the USSR. So a lot of this social media thing is new to me. Like, it's something that my wife kind of had to get me into, because I grew up in an era where we didn't share information. Like, the type of information now you can get from social media, people had to pay private eyes top money to get. But if you want to email, you can email me at the Fasting Fatman, @gmail. On Facebook, I'm Fasting Fatman. I try to answer everybody who posts on my YouTube. Try to answer every email and every Instagram posting too. So guys, that's pretty much it.
Beautiful. He's only one man, but if you're patient with him, he'll get back to you as soon as he can.
Exactly.
I just wanted to let everybody know that one of the things that I put in place to help people through their journey, because a lot of this stuff, you got to do this research, and it takes time. So what I've done is I put a lot of the information that I have on fasting in one place. I've developed a website. It's called thefastingacademy.com, and essentially it's going to teach you the ABCs of fasting. So if you're looking to expedite this process, maybe not have to go through all of the research, I still encourage everybody to do their own research, because that's what's going to make it real for you. But if you guys are looking to kind of expedite the process and get some really quick, concise answers, AHA Fasting Academy, or AHA fastingacademy.com. You guys can check that out. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. The interviews have been, huge for the channel. People love the interaction. And so I'm looking to give you guys more interviews just like this. And I would absolutely love to have John come back on, especially maybe towards the end of the year, maybe on the new year, catch up with you. Yep, see your progress and everything like that, because like you said, you're putting one foot in front of the other, so you're gonna get to your goal. It's really just a matter of time. So we're definitely gonna check back in with you at some point. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it's been an absolute pleasure, Chris. I'm glad to finally talk to you.
As always, the application of knowledge is power, and I will see you guys next time.
Take care. Bye.